All right, so welcome everyone. So today is the fourth session for the Fyers Development API. Let me just quickly summarize what we have covered in our previous session. So if you go to your school community and click on Fyers API Strategy Development, so these are the three videos we have already covered. In the first video, we have covered login process, where I show you how to authenticate yourself, how to create an app, and how to get the access token. These are the things that we do in the first video. Then in the second video, I discussed about data API. So if I go through the documentation, if you just scroll down, you'll find a section called data API. In data API, I have discussed how to get historical data, how to get code data, how to get market depth, how to get option chain. These are the things that I have discussed in this data API. And order API, in order API lecture, I have discussed about how to place different types of order, like how to place a market order, how to place a limit order, how to place bracket order, how to place cover order, different types of order I've shown in this video. Okay, so today will be the fourth session where I'll discuss about how to deal with sockets. Okay, that's what I'm going to discuss today. Now, before starting the session, these are the code that I have. So the first, if you click on login.py, this is how the code looks like. So before you do anything else, you first need to authenticate yourself. So I've already authenticated myself and I have the access token. If I click on access.txt, I have the code. If you see the code, it means you have authenticated, but I'll just show you one more time how it looks like. So if you run this code, it will take you to a website, that is fesapro.com, and on the fesapro.com you'll get the client ID. Okay, you'll get the access token. You just need to copy the URL, go to your terminal and just paste it. If you press enter, you'll find the access token. Now once it extracts the access token, it saves it into a file and the file name is access.txt. Right, this is the first step you're going to do every day, because this access token changes every day. So if you want to run your strategy in Indian market by using Fyers API, you have to follow this process every day. Once you have the access token, then you can execute my other files. So we have seen the profile file where we have seen where I've shown you different functions like funds. If you want to know how much money you have in your account, you can call the fund function. Then you can call the order book function, which will give you a list of all the active orders or uh, closed cancelled order in your order book. Then if you want your position, list of all the position, you can call the position function. Trade book will give you a list of all the trades which were registered on the exchange. So these are the three important functions that we need to design our strategy. Then in history API, I've shown you how to get historical data. So I've created a function called fetch OHLC. If you call this function, it will give you historical data for any contract. Just specify the ticker name and it will give you the historical data. I've also discussed about how Fyers is creating a contract name, right? So creating a contract name varies from broker to broker. Like in interactive broker, we have to create a contract object. In Fyers, you have to create a string like this. You see this string? This is how we create uh, a contract, or you can say create a ticker. And in Zerodha, if you go to a broker like Zerodha, they give a unique number to each ticker. Like if it's Reliance, so Reliance will have a unique number. So we have to use that number as a reference to do any type of operation on that ticker. Okay, so this is something you need to remember, that each broker will vary in terms of how they reference a ticker or how they reference a stock or an instrument. Then I created another function called get history. Now you'll notice, no, any broker you take, each broker has some limit. Like if you want to fetch historical data, you can only fetch like maybe 1 year, 2 year, 3 year of data. When you try to fetch 10 years of data, that also a 5 minute, 10 minute, or 1 hour of or 1 minute. Okay, when you go to that granularity, most of the broker will not give you so much of data in one API call. Okay, I'll repeat. Whenever you try to fetch, let's say 5 minute, 10 years of data you want. Now you cannot make a single API call and hope to receive the entire data in one go, because of the server problem. They cannot send so much data in one go. So what I've done is I've created a function which fetches the data part by part. Like if you want 1 year of data, we'll fetch month by month. I'll fetch the first 2 months, then next 2 months, then next 2 months, and eventually we'll get like 10 years of maybe 5 minute data. So this thing I've already discussed. You can go through my videos. Then I showed you how to get quote. Now what is quote? In quote we get the real time snapshot of instrument. Okay, if you want a snapshot of the current status of that instrument, like basic information like what is the bid, what is the ask, what is the LTP, what is the volume, all those things you'll get in quote function. Then option chain is used for option trading. we'll get an entire option chain. This I'll discuss more if I ever discuss about option strategy in future. Then market depth. In market depth, you get more information about bid and ask. What is the bid? What is the ask? At what price we have the bid? At that price, what is the volume? All this information we get in market depth. Then we move to order. In order, I've already shown you all the different types of order, like limit order, market order, stop order, stop. There are two stop order. One is stop order, one is stop market order. Then we have cover order, we have bracket order. These are all the different types of order I've discussed. Then I created another file called margin, where if you want to know how much margin is required to trade any instrument, like, because a lot of instrument requires uh, less money compared to the actual price of that instrument, right? So in option, this is very common. So we use this margin file to do that. Like if you want to sell a call, sell a put, how much margin is required to place a trade on these two stock? Because if you only sell a certain instrument, if you just sell a certain option instrument, it will require you more money. Whereas if you buy a hedge, if you buy a hedge and then if you sell a contract, it will require less money. So how much margin is required to place an order is calculated by using this file. You just specify the two contract, and if you call this function called get span margin, it will give you how much margin is required to place a trade on this combined contract, right? So now we will start with socket. Now there are two types of socket, so I'll create two file. Let's create the first file. Let's call it 6 underscore data socket, data underscore socket.py, and I'll create another file called 7 underscore order underscore socket.py. Now, whenever we talk about, now first of all, what is socket? See, till now, any data we want from the broker, we used to do an API call. Okay, we do a API call and broker will send us some data, right? The broker will give us some response, and that response will use it in our code. Now, making a call and getting the data, this takes a bit of time, right? You cannot do this every second. Like you can do this, but this will impose a lot of pressure on the server, right? So that is the reason whenever you read documentation of any broker, they have some limit that in a second you can only do like 5 API call or 10 API call, or in a minute you can only do 100 API calls. So this is something you need to refer to the documentation. So if I show you for Fyers, what is their limit? If you go to documentation, I'll just search for API limit. I'll just search for limit. See, these are the limit of their API. So in a second, I can only do 10 API call. In a minute, I can only do 2,200 API call, and in a day, I can do like, I think 1 lakh API calls or 10,000. I don't know what is this number. 1 lakh API call, right? So this is something you should remember, that in a single, you cannot hope to make a API call every second. If there is any better way, you have to use that approach. Okay, so this is not the best approach. So that is the reason we need to study about a new concept called sockets. Now in socket, what we do, like when you talk about algo trading, when you talk about designing a strategy, the most important information is the real time price of a stock, right? And you know that the price of a stock changes every second, right? So what we do, instead of making an API call every second, we start a socket between our Python file and the broker. Once the socket connection is created, we don't have to make a API call again and again to get the data, get the latest data. So what happens, once you create a socket, the broker will continuously send you the data into your Python file. Okay, you don't have to make a call again and again. You just have to make a call once. Once the socket is started, then broker will keep sending you the data. Now there is one advantage and one disadvantage of sockets. The advantage is that you just have to make a API call once, and for the entire day, you will continuously receive the real-time data from the broker. You don't have to do multiple API calls. This is advantage. The disadvantage is, once you do this, you cannot do anything else, because your program will be busy fetching the data from the server, receiving the data from the server. At that instance, it won't be able to do anything, right? So the moment you use WebSockets in your program, doing something else becomes tricky. Why it becomes tricky? Because your code is busy getting the data from the server. If you cannot do any other operation, now this varies from broker to broker. In some broker we cannot do anything, in some broker we can. Now, if you're using WebSocket and if you want to do other things at the same time, like placing an order, checking your condition and all those things, if you want to do this also, so you need to learn about uh, concurrent programming. Now, what is concurrent programming? Concurrent programming is a paradigm where we study about where we run multiple code at the same time. See, whatever we have done till now is a normal programming language. Okay, is a normal code where each line executes and then the next line executes. Right? We are not running the same code at the same time. In algo trading, this is one requirement that I want to run two things at the same time. What two things? One is order socket where I'm getting the real time data from the server, and one is my trading logic. I need to check my trading logic like maybe after every minute or after every 1 minute. And along with that, I also need to place order. Right? Now, all three of them should run at the same time. Now, this is not possible if you use a standard way of programming. Okay. So, in order to achieve concurrent programming where we run multiple code at the same time, we need to study about async IO. Okay, so there is a library called async IO in Python. So there are two libraries, one is threading and one is async IO. Async IO is a better version of is a better library for concurrent programming. So if we ever discuss about a strategy which involves WebSocket, so in that case, I will also teach you how to how to write asynchronous code. So the approach of writing a asynchronous code is slightly different compared to a normal code. Okay. Now, after this session, in our next session, I'll be discussing about a strategy where I'll show you how to take a strategy from scratch and build it a complete end-to-end strategy. This is what I'll discuss in our next session. Now, in that strategy, I won't be using sockets. Okay. Because sockets are not required in all the strategies. Sockets are only required in a strategy where you need real-time data, right? If you need real time, every second uh, you need the real time price of a stock. In that case, you have to use socket. Otherwise, it's not needed. But it's an essential component of algo trading. So that's what I'm going to discuss today. Any doubt in socket, anyone? Anything you want to ask? Amit, Tushar, Vikram, Vipul, Yatin. What are sockets? I hope. What are sockets? Okay. Now, how do you write a socket code and how does it look like? So we'll start with data socket. Now there are two type of socket. One is called data socket and one is order socket. Now in data socket, once you subscribe for an instrument, you continuously get the real time data. And one is order socket. In order socket, what happens? See, when you place an order, the order is given, the order is taken by the broker and broker sends the order to the exchange. Now, when you place a limit order or a stop order, you don't know when the order will get filled, right? You might place an order at 10:15 and it might get filled at 10:20. Now, how will you know that the order get filled? This is where the order socket is used. So once you start an order socket, whenever there is any change in the order, okay, when some order gets filled, when some order gets cancelled, anything happens to the order, so that information is sent to us via order socket, right? So I'll repeat again, there are two sockets that we need to study. One is called data socket and one is order socket. In data socket, we subscribe for an instrument and it gives me real-time data of an instrument. Now that data includes the real-time price, the real-time bid, the real-time uh, ask, the volume, all the essential information it will give you via the socket. And the other socket is called data socket, sorry, order socket. In order socket, what we get is, like when you place an order, you don't know when the order will get filled. It might get filled in few seconds, it might get filled in few minutes. Now the moment it gets filled, that information needs to be known to our software, right? So that information is transferred via order socket. If you start an order socket, you will come to know the moment your order gets filled. I hope you guys have understood the main reason why we have these two things. One is called order and one is called data socket. Now let's try to code this data socket. Now, as you know, the first thing we have to do is we need the credential. We'll need the library. So I'll go to my history file and I'll just copy this basic code. Okay, I'll just copy this and I will just paste the code. Now this is the essential code. First, we are importing the library. We are getting the client ID, secret key and redirect URI. And we are also opening the access token from access.txt file. Now we need to make a contract. Okay, any ticker, any contract you want real-time data for, you have to create a ticker for that. Now the problem is right now NSE is closed. So I cannot get real-time data for any NSE listed stock right now. But MCX market is open and I can get real time data from MCX market. Okay. So let's try to create a contract for a MCX instrument. So I'll make a variable called ticker is equal to, let's go to some, I'll search for a contract here. We'll just click on this add MCX. I'll write silver. What is the most active contract right now? It is silver December. Silver future December. Okay. Now this is a commodity. Okay. And let's try to fetch real time data of this commodity. You can see the market is open. You can see the price is changing. Now the first thing is we need the name of this contract. So when you do a right click, you'll see the name. Name is MCX colon silver 24 December future. This is the contract name. So we need this. Okay. Let me just copy and paste it here. I'll just write it MCX. Then we have colon silver. Colon silver. Then we have 24 December. 24 December. And then we have FUT. FUT. So this is the ticker name. Okay. Now keep in mind each broker is different when it comes to creating a contract. So this is how we create a contract in Fyers API. Once you have the ticker, you have to go to the documentation. So go to the documentation. Now if you scroll down, you'll find the section of socket. See, there is WebSocket and there is order socket, order WebSocket. So I'll click on WebSocket. When I click on WebSocket, these are all the sockets that they have. Now what I need is I need market data symbol update. So I'll go through each of them, but the most important one is market data symbol update. I'll click on it and I'll just copy the code. Okay, whatever code they have, I'll just copy this and I will just paste it here. Let's try to understand what they have. First, they are importing a library which is necessary, so I'm going to keep it as it is. Then they have created a function called on message. So let me just minimize this. Then they have on error, they have on close, they have on open, and then they have access token. So this access token we already have. See, I have created a variable called access token. So no need to create it again. So I'll just wait. Okay. So replace the sample code. Okay. One more thing. Now this access token is different and this access token is different. Okay. So let's call this as access token. Let's call this as new access token. Okay. I'll just change the name. I'll write new underscore access token. Now, how do I come to know that this is different? Just look at this string. This string has two components. One is the name client ID and one is the access token that I already have. So this component is this access token and this component, this XC4 dash 100 is this client ID. So there are two components in this new access token. So let me just make that up real quick. So I'll write F in the beginning. I'll just remove this and in bracket I'll write client ID and I'll remove this and I'll write access token. Okay. So let me repeat again. I just copied and pasted the code. So there are four functions they have provided. One is on open, on close, on error, and on message. And then they want me to create a new access token which contain two things. One is client ID and one is access token. So I got the client ID from here and I got the access token from the access.txt file. Okay. Then now we need to use this data underscore WS. So from Fyers API version 3, there is a file called Fyers WebSocket. In Fyers WebSocket, there is a class called data WS. There is a class called data WS. So in data WS, we are creating a Fyers data socket object. So this Fyers is a data socket object. Okay. So see, you don't have to write it on your own. Okay. You just copy paste it. So I just created a Fyers object and then at the end we call the connect function. Now this is the output that you'll receive once you start the socket. So I'll just comment this for now. Okay, let me just comment this entire thing. And that's it. We are good to go. Let me just show you the different parameters we have to send in this Fyers data socket. Now, if you want to know more about the parameter, you can read the documentation itself. So these are all the parameters you need. First, you need symbol. The symbols in Fyers symbology format whose data you need. Wait, this is the response you'll get. Sorry, this is the response you'll get. The data that you need to send is first access token, which we have created, but we have created the access token as new access token. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Instead of access token, I'll write new access token. Then log path, you can leave it blank. Light mode, you can leave it false. I'll come to this in few minutes. Write to file, also leave it false. Reconnect is true. On connect, okay, just keep it as it is. Okay, don't change anything. Just keep it as it is. Now the only thing I need is hmm. So I just copied pasted the code and I have just changed this new access token. Now what we will do, we'll go to a function called onOpen. Okay, when you go into onOpen, you'll see what is the comment they have written. They have written a callback function to subscribe to data type and symbol upon WebSocket connection. So this is the function where you have to specify the symbol name. Okay, so first the data type is symbol update. Now what is this data type? I'll come to in few minutes. But look at this variable called symbols. Now this is where you have to specify all the instrument for which you want real-time data for. Right now I only want real-time data for a single instrument ticker. So I'll just copy the ticker variable name, and instead of writing these stocks, I'll just write ticker. Okay, I've created a list of ticker. Then you need to subscribe. So I'm calling Fyers.subscribe. Now what is this Fyers? Fyers is okay. Okay, I think this Fyers and this Fyers is the same. So we'll just call the function subscribe, where we are sending two parameter. One is symbol and one is data type. And then we call the function keep running. When you call this function, it will, so you can see the comment, keep the socket running to receive real-time data. And that's it. We have written our socket code. Now I'll run the code and I'll show you. See, now the moment I run the code, I'll continuously get the data from the server. You can see it is showing me some message like authentication done, full mode on, and subscribed. Now this is how the real-time data looks like. Okay, you can see it will keep sending me the data every few millisecond, microsecond, or few seconds. Now there is no guarantee you'll get data, all the data, but in a single second you most probably get one data. Okay, now let's try to understand what type of data I'm getting. So I'll just copy and paste. Okay, I'll just copy this, copy few of the data points, copy. I'll close the terminal and I'll paste it here. So these are the four data points. Okay, this I received at 1 second, this I received at 1 second, the next second, next second, next second. We don't need all of them, so let's just keep one of the data so that we can understand what type of response I'm getting. So this is the response I'm getting. As you can see, it's a simple dictionary, okay, where there is a key and a value pair. So first key value pair is LTP. This is the last traded price of this instrument. Then we have volume traded. This is the volume traded at that instance. Then we have last traded time. So instead of giving a string date time, they are giving me a epoch time. So I hope everyone knows what is epoch time. Then there is exchange feed time. So this is the exchange feed time. Then there is a bid size. There is a ask size. There is a bid price. There is a ask price. Then there is a last traded quantity. Then there is a total buy quantity. Then we have total sell quantity. Then we have average traded price. Now remember, all the parameters are being changed every second. Every second you'll get a new value. Then we have low price. Now this low price will remain the same. So it is giving you for this entire day what was the lowest price. So that's what that low represent. Then we have high price. Then we have low circuit. Now for some stock, we have some circuit limit that if the stock reaches that circuit, the stock will be stopped for trading for few hours. Then we have upper circuit. Then we have open price. At this price, the stock got uh, opened. Then we have previous close price. I think this is previous day's price. Then there is type called SF. I don't know what is this SF. Then we have symbol. Then we have CH and we have CHP. Now, what is this CH and CHP? Let's take a look at documentation. So if you see CH means change in the price of security or asset today. CHP means change in the price in percentage of security or asset today. That's what CH and CHP means. Then what is this type? Let's see what is this type. What is type? So this is the type. This is the type parameter. So there are five. There are total five different types. One is called CN. CN, if you get it, means connection message. SUB, if you receive it, means subscribe message. If you receive it, means index message. DB, if you receive it, means market data depth message. And SF, if you receive SF, it means it is equity and option data message. So here we are getting SF. It means it's uh, equity and option data. Now, why do we have this parameter? The reason is because it might happen that when you're starting the socket connection, you might subscribe for some stocks, some options, some futures, and maybe some MCX stocks. You know, uh, your sample of instrument will be uh, from different industry or from different sectors, right? So for that reason, they are giving a name to different data type. So if you are receiving a data from index, they'll mark it as IF. It means it's a index data. If you receive it, if you are fetching for market depth, they'll show it as DB. If you are getting for a normal equity or a stock option, then they'll write it as SF. So this parameter is also important when you subscribe for multiple instruments. And I think rest of the other parameters are pretty straightforward to understand. Okay. Everyone understood how to start a socket, how to read the data from a socket. Now what I'll do a small change so that it should only print. I only want to print LTP and I want to print the time. So where is the time? So this is the last traded time. Or okay, we'll do one thing. We'll print three things. One is last traded time, what is LTP, and one is volume traded. Let's try to print these three things. Okay. So I'll now if you want to change this, you have to go to on message function. Now all the four functions that I have copied that I've pasted here have some significance. On open function is used to uh, change the subscription data. Which instrument you want to subscribe, that information is saved in on open callback function. So we call it callback function, right? I'll repeat, in on open function, you have to specify the data type and the symbol. Now, what is this data type? I'll explain in a few minutes, but this is what on open does. That is, in on open function, you have to specify the data type and you have to specify the symbol. Then we have a function called on message. So on message, let's read it. Callback function to handle the incoming message from the Sapphire data socket. So whatever data the socket is sending, that data is being saved in this message variable. This is message is a dictionary and the receive message from the WebSocket. Right now we were printing it. So I'll just comment this and let's change this print a bit. So I'll write print. What do I want? I want, so message is what I'm getting. Message is a dictionary. So I'll use the get function and I'll specify what I want. So as I told you, first I need to specify the time. So I'll just copy the exchange traded time, copy this. And okay, wait, I have to copy the key. Key is this last traded time. Okay. So this is the first parameter I want to print. Then I want to print second and third parameter. Now what should be my second parameter? I want it to print LTP. So I'll copy LTP. This is the key and I'll just change this to LTP. Okay, second parameter is also done. Last parameter is I want to see the volume traded today. So I'll print volume. You can also save it in three. Okay, it's better to save it in three different variables. So I'll make three variable. One is time equal to this. One is LTP is this. And one is a volume. I'll print time, LTP and volume. Now I'll run the code, but you see this time will be epoch time. So it will be difficult to understand. Let me show you first how the output looks like. Then I'll change this time. Instead of showing the epoch time, I'll show you the normal time, which is understandable for a normal guy. Let's run the code. Now you'll see it will not print the entire socket data. It will just print three parameter. Okay, it is throwing an error. It is saying, okay, maybe I have to run it again. Okay, it's throwing an error again. Okay. Now it is printing. See, it is printing the time, it is printing the LTP, and it is printing the volume. If you go to the instrument, you see that's what the LTP is. Right now, it is ranging between 902 and 929. So LTP is 928. This is what the LTP is. And you see LTP keeps changing every second. Now let's try to change this time parameter. Now, how do you change a epoch time to a date time? So first, for that we already have imported datetime library. So we'll use a function. So there is a function called dt dot datetime dot from timestamp. So in this you have to specify the epoch time. So I'll just copy this and put it inside, and I'll take this and I'll put it here. Now the time that will be printed will be readable for everyone. Let's run the code. Now MCX is a, wait, why it is throwing an error? I don't know. Let's run it again. Now you see it is printing the time, price and volume. So this is the time 18:40:01. Okay. See, the time is same. Now it is giving me for a different time. So this is 18:40:23. At this time, this was the LTP. At 24 second, this was the LTP. At 30 second, this was the LTP. Now see, even though I'm saying that you will get data for every second, if the instrument is not liquid, so the price will not change every second. If the data is extremely liquid, like maybe if you take Bank Nifty, there you'll see more data points being received from the socket, because that changes. Bank Nifty price changes every millisecond, microsecond, right? So if the instrument is liquid, more liquid, then you'll get more data. If the instrument is less liquid, you'll get less data. So keep that in mind. Since so I have subscribed for MCX stocks, that's the reason I'm not getting data for every second. See, here you can see there is a gap. Like after 24, I'm getting the data for 29. After 29, I'm getting the data for 30, then 31, 32, 34, then 43. See, after 34, directly I'm getting after the next data I'm getting is 43. And you cannot do anything about this. That's how the socket works. Since the since the instrument itself is not that liquid, so you cannot hope to get data for every second. And if you run the same code for a index, you'll see the data will be for every second. Not only second, you'll get 2 to 3 data in a single second. Okay, so this is how you use order socket. I'll just repeat few important thing that you need to remember here. First thing is new access token. This is how you create a new access token. This I realized by looking at the string. Then we created a Fyers object, and then we call the connect function. Now here we have two important function. One is on message, one is on open. So in on open you have to write the code to subscribe, and in on message you have to write the code that you want to run once you get the message. Okay, whatever message you are getting, whatever data you are getting, whatever operation you want to do on that data, you have to write it here. So what I did, I took the time, I took the LTP, I took the volume, and I printed all the three things. Now I have all other parameters too. So from all this parameter, I can use anyone. You want LTP, you want bid, ask, anything you want, you can get from here. Okay, you have access to all this information. And yes, so these are all the important thing you need to remember on how to use sockets for Fyers API. Yes, thank you, Chandrakant. Now what we will do, okay, so as I told you that there are two sockets. Now there are few more things you need to know about data socket. Order socket I'll come to in few minutes, but let's see what else you need to know about data socket. Before I change the code, let's change the instrument. Okay, let's try for some other instrument and see if we are getting the data or not.
Puneet.
So what I've done, I'm just going to MCX website, and I've just searched for the most liquid stock on MCX. So we have
Okay.
this gold. Yeah, someone is saying something.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to understand one thing.
Yeah.
Are this data's accurate? Are all the data supplied at a very point, or how does it happen? Is there any lagging, or sometimes because if you see the real market, sometimes what happens is like when I see the chart, there are some of the data which are not plotted on the charts, but there is high and lows, especially when it happens. It means the order get triggers, but they are not reflecting on the charts, or sometimes the what the high and lows shows, it doesn't reflect in the real time. They are lagged, or they are just ignored. So does this solve our purposes, or how can we sort that thing out?
See, this data, we are getting it from broker, and broker is getting this data from the exchange. Okay, so exchange first is sending data to broker, and then broker is refining the data and then sending it to us. So definitely there is a lag, right? There is a slight lag. I think maybe 1 second or few micro millisecond gap will be there. I will not
Yeah,
say this
there
is
is
like the
always
exact
maximum. Yeah, maximum there is a 3 seconds lag, and
3 second. It might
sometimes
be.
it's a milliseconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But what I'm asking is, there are some of the orders which are being skipped. Like with me myself, only it has happened. My orders are getting triggered,
Hmm.
but what happens is they are not reflected on the charts, especially on the chart, and
Hmm.
they just, matlab, they are already been triggered. So
Okay.
it is especially it happens when there are some very heavy data flow. So I just wanted to understand: is this socket going to help us to get the right data?
Like this is the only option we have. So to answer your question, yes, this will help us in that. I think the
Okay,
situation that you are talking about is when there is a sudden movement in the stock price in
yeah,
options. So in
there are
that
a lot
case,
of things. Yeah.
your order is not triggered or your order is not filled. So
No,
in
no, the orders are getting filled, but they are not displayed on the charts. Especially when, because I basically means I
so
uses
that's a
Fire,
broker
and
problem. You
so
see,
that's what I just wanted to
broker
understand.
interface is not able to detect. Since there is a sudden movement, broker is not able to detect that the order got filled. Now I have to show that the order is filled. This is done by broker, so it's a broker's fault. It's not the data fault.
So how this socket will this socket solve that problem?
Yes, yes, of course. Because
Okay,
we are not
okay,
we are just looking at the data, right? And all the information will
right,
store it on our computer. We don't care if the broker is showing me the order is filled, order is
right,
cancelled, or whatever.
right, right. Because if you have seen this thing, this happens many times. Because I have seen myself that especially in the Nifties and bank Nifties, there are sometimes the data get refreshed, and there is some spikes in the
Yeah,
bars that happen.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
It's
like
quite
that.
common.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's
Thank you.
go to the next instrument, that is gold 5th December contract. So I'll go here. Let's search for a new contract. I'll write gold. It's 24th December. 5th December. Okay. Think December. There are two of them. One is gold and one is gold. Now which one is more liquid? I think the second one should be more liquid. Let's see. This, yeah, the price is changing. If the price is changing, I think I can start the socket for this. So I'll do a right click. This is the name. So let me just make the name again. So I'll make another variable called ticker2, which is equal to mcx colon. Then we have gold. So I'll write gold. Then we have 24 December, 24 December. Then we have future, FUT. Okay. So for this, I need, now where I have to change, I have to change on open. Go to on open and just change this ticker. Now I've written ticker 1, I'll write ticker 2. Ticker 2. Now instead of giving real time data for silver, it's going to give me real time data for gold. Okay. After few seconds, I'll show you how you can get for both. So if I run the code, it will take few seconds to start the socket. Once the socket is started, you see the data. So at this second, this is the price. You can see 76861. You can see 76861. Around there, the price is. This is like bid ask. If you look at LTP, so this is the LTP that I'm printing. So at 27 seconds, this was the LTP. At 52 seconds, this was the LTP. 26875. Okay. Now, let's do one thing. Along with printing the time, along with printing the time, LTP and volume, let's print the symbol also, because now I'm going to show you for two contract, right? So let's copy this symbol and let's make another variable inside on message. Let's name it symbol, or you can call it name. Name is equal to, I'll just copy this, paste it here and change this to symbol. And along with time, I'll also print symbol. And inside my on open, I only had a single ticker one. I'll change this to ticker. I'll add another element called ticker, ticker, comma, ticker 2. Right? Two variable I have, ticker and ticker 2. So I've added both of them in a list. Now you'll see I'll get real time data for two socket, two instrument. Let's run the code. Now remember that we don't need order socket for all every strategy. There are only 20 to 30% of the strategy where we need order socket, or we can do the same thing by using historical API, because I can get the same information. I don't need every second information, right? I just need information every minute or every 5 minutes. In that case, you don't need the socket. Okay, this is weird. It's giving me Nifty bank data. Why it's giving me Nifty bank data? Mm, okay, I think I made a mistake. Let's call this ticker 1 and ticker 2. And here I'll write ticker 1 comma 2. Think everything is right. Let's run the code. Okay, I made a mistake actually. Here I have to print name. I'm printing symbol, so I have to write name here. There was a mistake. Let's run it again. You can see first it is giving me gold, silver, gold, silver, gold, silver, and you can see the time. This is 8:51. Now the time is different. This LTP happened at this time. So it is giving me LTP time. It is not giving me the current time of this computer. Current time of the computer might be different. LTP got executed at some different time. So this is that time. So at 51:15, this was the LTP. 51, if you scroll down, you'll find a new. This is 51:36. At 51:36, this is uh see, this is the gold price. Gold price is 76,000 and the silver price is 92,000. Why is silver more than gold? I don't know. But yeah, let me just verify. Gold is around 76,000 now. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
correct.
silver, yeah, 92. Okay. So this is how you can subscribe for more than one ticker. Okay. This is all you should know. Now, if you want to add more ticker, you can add it here. But keep in mind, the more ticker you add, the slower data you'll get. Okay. If you add like 100 tickers, don't assume that you'll get every second data for all the tickers. Since you're subscribing for so many tickers, so the frequency of the data will reduce. You might get data in every 5 second, or you might get in like 7 second, 3 second. It varies from broker to broker, because all this thing is given to you by free. Whenever you get data source for free, you cannot hope for the best efficiency. Okay, if you are paying for the data, if you are paying some company for just for the sake of data, real time data, which is providing co-location or something, there you can expect that even if you subscribe for 100 tickers, you will get real time data for every second. In this type of broker, you cannot expect such thing. So keep that in mind. The more ticker you increase, the frequency of the data will reduce. Now, if you go to the documentation and if you scroll down, I've just shown you market data symbol update. Then there is market data depth update. There is market data light mode. Before I move to uh, indices and depth, let me show you the light mode. Now, light mode is an interesting one. What light mode does is, instead of sending all this data, see, right now I'm receiving this much data, right? Like for my strategy, I might not need all of them. So they have added another socket called light mode. If you read this light mode, they are saying this WebSocket API provides a lightweight and efficient light mode of receiving only the last traded price update of a specific stock symbol. This symbol is designed for users who require real-time access to LTP data without the additional overhead of subscribing to other stock data feed. The light mode allows for seamless integration into application, blah blah blah. So the conclusion is, if you use the light mode, then you'll not get this type of data. You'll get less data, which is important. So let me show you what changes you have to do. Now, if you remember, if you go to the on open function, in on open function, I've written symbol update, right? This is the only parameter we have to change. So what I'll do, if you scroll down, this is the Python code. In on open, okay, wait, here also they have symbol update actually. Okay, so there is something else you need to change. In Fyers data socket function, there is a parameter called light mode. You see this light mode? If you change this to true, light mode will be on and you'll get less information in the socket. So let's do this. I'll change this to true. And I'll comment this and I'll just print the message because I want to know what type of response I'm getting. Then I can write this code. Let's run the code. Now you'll see the data that I'll get will be different. It will be less. I don't know, it's throwing some error for some reason. You see, this is the type of response you get. They only give me two information. One is LTP, symbol, and the type. SF. SF means it's stock and futures and options. So if you only want this much information, you just change this light mode to true. If you change the light mode to true, you'll only get this information. If you need all this information real time every second, so you need to keep that light mode as false. This is the only change you have to do if you want just the LTP. Okay, so if you are fetching for a lot of instrument and you only need LTP for all the information, it's highly recommended that you go for light mode. Because for 100 instrument, you want every data live. So you should use it, right? If you're not using it, why to fetch the data? Because it will create an overhead.
Sunil, this light mode is means does it help us to create a what do you say, like say suppose Bollinger Band. If
Hmm.
we are plotting a Bollinger Band, does it help the light mode?
Like for Bollinger Band, we need historical data. So we cannot use this. For that type of indicator, we need candle data, and candle data you can only get from historical data function. So
Right,
this you don't have to use. You have to use this history function. This function you can use to
right.
calculate the Bollinger Band.
Yeah, but when we plot our means when we are deploying our theories,
Hmm.
at that point of time, the historical data are always used, and there is a trigger point. So the trigger point is the current time, and
Yes, in that case, yes.
yeah,
So you will plot the Bollinger and you'll use
yeah,
the LTP to check if it has breached the Bollinger.
exactly,
Yes, yes, you
exactly.
can do that.
So it can help, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it will help. Now, okay. So I just taught you how to use this market data symbol update and market data light mode. Now there are two more things we need to know. One is depth and one is indices. Now indices I cannot show you because the market is closed, but I'll tell you what the major difference is. The major difference will be, I think everything will be same. You just need to change the symbol name. Okay, maybe I can try it in few seconds, but let me show you the market depth first. Market depth, uh, for some strategies, like very few strategies exist which requires market depth. But let me show you how this looks like. You can just read about it. What is this? Now what I have to change, I just need to change one thing, that is instead of symbol update. So here in on open, in this on open function, I have written data type is symbol update. I just need to write depth update. That's it. Okay, so I'll just copy this depth update and I'll paste it here. So I just changed one thing, data type is depth update, and here I'll change this to light mode to false again because I want to see what type of data I'm getting. So why to keep it true? And yes, that's it. Let's run the code and see what type of depth I'm getting if I go for market depth. Hmm. So this is the type of data you get. Let's take a look. I'll just copy few of the data points. Now remember that even this, they try to give you as much as possible. Okay, they try to give you every second. You might not get every second, but you'll get enough information for your strategy. Remove this, remove this. Now most of it is not that useful, but let me show you. See, we have bid price 1, we have bid price 2, we have bid price 3, we have bid price 4, we have bid price 5, and so on and on and on. Then okay, after 5 they start with ask price. Okay, so they have ask price 1, they have ask price 2, 3, 4, 5. Then they have bid size. They have bid size 1, they have bid size 2, and so on and on. Then they have ask size 1, 2, 3, they go till 5. Then they have bid order 1, bid order 2, bid order 3, bid order 4, bid order 5. Then they have ask order 1, 2, 3. Uh, then they have type. Type is DB. DP means what? Depth. See, DP means, when they write DP, it means depth update. Then nothing more. They just have symbol. So there are very few strategies. If you have a strategy which involves looking at the market depth, so you can use this information. Otherwise, it's not needed in most of the strategies. Now, what I can do, I can have two socket. One socket is getting data in light mode. One socket is getting the data in the full mode. One socket is getting the data in getting the market depth. That also I can do. Now, when I'm getting all the three information real time, how will I differentiate the data? By looking at this type. Here type is DP. Here type is SF. So by looking at this SF, you can differentiate the different data that you're getting from the socket. Okay. So this is how the market depth works. Then we have indices. I'll try, but I don't know if this will work. So I just need to, I will, okay, let me make a variable called index. I don't think it will work, but let me try. Index symbol equal to, I'll write NSE colon Nifty bank dash index. Okay, so I have index symbol. I also need to change one more thing. Go to on here and just write this index symbol, and this depth needs to be changed. I need symbol update. Copy this. Like, there is no doubt about it, it will not work, but I'm showing you how to change it. Okay, this thing you have to change, this thing you have to change, and yes, run the code. It will mostly throw an error that the market is closed, like the NSE exchange is closed. That's weird. I'm actually getting the data. So it is printing response is this. It is printing the LTP. It is printing the closing price, CH, everything it is printing. But I don't think it will send me more data. It's not sending me any data. Yeah, this is how it looks like if you
So
run
it's
it in the
a
live market.
day data.
What?
It's a day data.
Date. You're asking for the time, right?
I'm saying it's a today's opening, high, low, and close data.
Yes, yes, that's right. But if you run the same code in the live market, you'll continuously get the data every second. Okay, so that's all you need to know about data socket. I don't think there is anything else needs to be discussed. See, there are these are all the data sockets. See, from market data symbol is data socket. This is also data. This is also data. This is also data. And this is how to unsubscribe. Not that important. Then we have order socket. Now in order there are four socket that they are given. One is order socket, one is trade socket, one is position socket, one is general socket. So I'll just tell you the difference. In order socket, if you subscribe for the order socket, you'll receive the data whenever you place an order or if you do anything. Let me show you. So I'll just copy this code and I'll just paste it here. Okay. So here they have a similar type of structure. I'll comment this output. Let me go through the structure first. They have on order function, they have on error, there is on close, there is on open. In on open, okay, let me just minimize it. Then you have to create an access token, right? So I need to create a similar type of access token that I'll create in few seconds. So let me just copy the code from my data socket. Copy this, paste it in order socket, and go to data socket. Copy the new access token because you cannot send the same access token as you send it in the other file. For socket, you need to create a separate type of a different type of access token, which is this. Okay, keep in mind whether you are dealing with data socket or order socket, the access token that you create looks like this. So I make a new variable called new access token. I'll copy this, and inside this Fyers order socket, I'll just paste this here. And I think that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Now you don't need these parameters exchange, because when you talk about order socket, you don't have to specify the symbol name. Any order that is placed on your broker side should be given to you by this socket. So I'll just comment this. Not needed, so I'm commenting it. Now if I run the code, you'll see nothing will happen. So if I run the code, nothing will happen. Why? Because you'll only receive the data once you trade, once you place an order or something. See, it is saying successfully subscribed, and that's it. It's not doing anything else. It will not give you any data at all until and unless you place a order or something. So let's place an order now. So I'll go to my API. The moment I place an order, you'll see that some information will be shown here. It doesn't matter the order, if the order get cancelled, the order get filled, whatever happens to the order, all that information will be given to me via socket. So if I try to buy this, I don't have enough money. So if I click on buy, the order will get cancelled. See, till now I don't have any data here. But the moment I click on buy one quantity, the order got rejected and I got the data here. So this is the response. You can just try to understand the response a bit. This will help you to maybe design your strategy in a better way. So you get two response. Now this you'll only understand why you're getting two response. Let's try to understand that. So I'm getting order response. There is S OK. S colon OK means you're getting the connection is correct. Then this is the order dictionary where you have the client ID, you have the ID, you have the quantity, you have the type. Type 2 means what? I think type 2 means it's a limit order. Then FY token, then exchange. Since there are different exchanges in this broker, so they have given number to each exchange. MCX has a different exchange number, and BSE will have a different exchange number. Then segment, since they have different segment, like there is option, there is future, there is commodity, so segment number also they have given. Then symbol. So I've applied this order on this symbol. Then instrument, I don't know what is this instrument 30, I need to look. Then offline order, false because the market is open. Order time, at this time I placed the order, you can see 19.6. Order validity was day. Product type was intraday. Side was 1. 1 means it's a buy order. Status is 4. Now what is this for? This is important. So if you go to the documentation and if you scroll down, they have this appendix, and here you'll find the status segment. So these are the 4 segments they have. If you scroll down, instrument type, these are all the instrument type they have. Order type, no, status, right? We need to look at status. These are the order status. So there are 6 status in Fyers. So there is a cancel status, there is traded, there is 3, there is transit, there is rejected, there is pending. So when you see 4, okay, here you see status is 4. Status is 4 means transit. Now when I say transit, it means that you have placed an order and this order is not sent to the exchange yet. Okay, when you place an order, first the order will remain in the broker, and then broker will send the order to the exchange. If you do some mistake on the broker side, broker will itself will not accept the order. If the broker doesn't accept the order, it will not send it to the exchange. So when you see transit, it means you have placed the right order, but I'm yet to send it to the exchange. Okay. So that is what the status means. Then source W, I don't know what is this W. Then exchange symbol is silver. Description. Now the reason, okay, description is nothing but the name of the instrument. Then there is order tag. You can give this tag if you want, and order number status. Now, among all this, the most important parameter is this ID. Okay, why this ID is important? Because once you place an order, you might want to modify the order or you might want to cancel the order, right? Any type of thing you want to do with the order, you have to use this order parameter. So that's the reason why order is important. Now we'll look at the other response that I've got. So most of the parameters would be same. So we have client ID, then we have this normal ID, which is very important. Then you have quantity. Like I'll just skip to the main part. Most of the things are same. Message. Now this is something that you don't have in the previous response. So here they have a message. Okay, one more thing. I want to show you the status. Status. Okay, first let's read the message. Message is it's showing margin shortfall. We don't have enough margin to place this order. What else I have? This is the time. Now see at this 6:19 at the same second. First it was okay. It's better if I show the status. Status. Okay. Now see status has changed. Previously the status was 4. Now the status is 5. Now what does status 5 means? 5 means rejected. So first the order is in transit mode, and then it will either be rejected or it will be pending. Okay, if it get rejected. If it is pending, after pending it gets filled. Okay, I've explained this in our previous session. You can watch the video. Then yeah, most of the stuff is same. So the most important parameter, if you ask me, in this order socket is the data that you should save is ID, the status, and side. Side is also important, and quantity also is important. Okay, these are the important. Like, but keep in mind that first the status is 4, and then the status gets converted to 5. And when the status is 5, you can also see the reason why your order got cancelled. So you can log this information if you want. Like if you're placing an order and if something happens to your order, you can log this for your future reference, that this is what happened to your order. It got rejected, it got failed, whatever. Okay, so this is what the order socket is, order type. Then they have few more things. Okay, I have to go to the socket. So go to the web socket. So I've just shown you the order socket. Similarly, there is a trade socket, there is a position socket. Now, when you place an order, once the exchange accepts the order, it becomes a trade. So that trade information, you'll get it in trade socket. Then once the trade is executed, once this trade is filled, then the stock gets reflected into your position. So position also gets updated. So that information you'll get it in position socket. Now, if you want all three of them, you can go for the general socket. Now, this is what I'll suggest to use. Instead of using all three differently, use this general one. General one includes all three of them. So you don't have to subscribe individually. If you subscribe for general one, you'll get all three of them. I'll just read it and show you. For receiving order, so this, if you start the general one, it will give you order, position, trade, price alert, EDIS update, everything you'll get. Okay. And how the code will change, let's copy and show you. So let me just comment this first. So see this above code that I've written, this is from line 28 till 90 is just for the order socket. Now the new code that I'm writing here is for everything. So similar structure, this I don't need because I've already imported. So now there are few more functions. There is on trade function, there is on order function, there is on position function. So if the trade get executed, if you want to do something, that code you'll write it in this function. If the order gets executed, if you want to do something after the order gets executed, you can write that here. On position, when the position gets updated, that code you can write here. Then on general, you can write if anything happens in this socket. Then there is error, there is on close, there is on open. Now, what is this on error and on close? So when some error happens, if you face some error, so how to handle that error, you have to write it in on error. And on close is when you close the socket, the code that you write inside this function will be executed. And then we have on open. In on open, you don't have to write anything, you just have to write the data type. So I want to show you the data type. Okay, if you scroll up, if you look here, if you go to on open, here the data type was on order, right? And if you scroll down, when you go for a general one, the data type, this type of data type you have to write on order, or you can write data type on general, like anything you can write. When you write the data type on order, comma on trade, comma on position, comma on general, all of them are subscribed. It means if anything happens to any of the uh, any of the any of the state, that change in the state information will be updated to you. An access token we already have, so I'm going to remove it and just change this to access token 1, new access token. That's it. You can comment this. Okay, so I have given you two code in order socket. One is only the order socket, one is a socket which includes everything. Okay, so here you have four different function, like one is on trade, on order, on position, on general, and all you have to change is in on open function you have to change this data type. So this data type is important for order socket. If you remember in data socket what is important, on open you have to provide this data type, either it is symbol update or it is depth update or something. That's it. So these are all you need to know. These are the concepts that you need to know for sockets. Okay, remember, let me just quickly summarize whatever I've discussed today. So there are two sockets, one is order socket, one is data socket. In data socket, I have shown you uh, two important type. One is like you need all the basic information. One is you need the market depth. And in order socket, we have 3 to 4 type. Like one is order, you just need order, or you just need trade, you just need position, or you need all of them. So you can start any type of socket. Now, how do you receive the data in this order socket? When something happens on the broker side, that is when you receive the data here. How do you receive the data in the order socket? You receive the data every second. Okay, because the exchange price will change every second. So as the price changes, as the price gets updated, that data will get it in data socket.